So they ended up saying, we need a theater in Midland. And Art decided to stay, the people decided to stay, and that was it. They did the Summer MuMmers.
And that's how it all started.
In fact, the first year it ran was 1949, and they were scheduled to do 6 shows, 3 shows per week for 2 weeks. It was very popular, so it was held over a third week. The ticket prices were $1.25 per ticket, and I think they cleared about $1,800 for the whole season. 10 years later, the ticket prices were $1.50. I guess inflation had been a factor. And there were 8 shows a year scheduled. Today, and for the last several years, there have been 30 or more per season. So it's got bigger and better the whole time, and much more expensive, and a lot more money raised for Midland Community Theater.
In the beginning, it was hard for them to find a place to call home. The first MuMmers was at the Midland County Public Health Center. They moved on to the American Legion Hall and the VFW Hall. And so the American Legion Hall was where they decided to set their roots for a while. But they never seemed to have enough room.
And dressed out in the alley, they dressed out in the parking lot. The makeup tables were actually out behind the building. It's one of those things that you make do with what you have, and it was a lot of fun.
The ladies who wore several sets of undergarments to make sure they were prim and proper would be changing costumes in the alley, and you'd get aware of the fact that there was bicycles, like 30 or 40 or 50 bicycles with young teen boys on it, out in the darkness watching this happening every Summer MuMmers night.
Because the alley is where the front stage people and the backstage people got together and ironed out their problems.
And even President George W. Bush joined in on the fun. And he starred in one of their moviolas.
An Arab, as I recall. We had a harem scene, I remember that. And his parents were well known, his family was well known because they'd been an integral part of the community, so he was known in that sense, but I don't think anyone could foresee what kind of political career he would have.
And before they started throwing popcorn around, they had peanuts.
They didn't throw popcorn, we didn't sell popcorn then, they threw peanuts and beer cans on occasion. You don't mind getting hit by popcorn, but peanuts in the shells hurt.
At the American Legion Hall, they sold the beer. We didn't, and it was in cans. So at the end of the evening, everybody was stacking cans on the tables, and you'd have this crash, and a whole pyramid would come down.
One thing that will never change is the fun that everyone has.
Audience, you ought to go to MuMmers once before you die. It's just, it's a unique event. You really need to see it.
And you get popcorn in your underwear. If you haven't got popcorn in your underwear, you haven't been to Summer MuMmers.